Hey everyone, welcome back to Crypto Cash. Thank you so much for joining me here. Hope you're having a fantastic day. We're taking a quick look here at Solana, seeing what's going on. Obviously, we're going to jump into the back-end data too with some liquidation levels and just help get quick perspective on what had occurred in the last 12 to 24 hours. So if you're new to the channel, just know I love to teach people to trade. Hope you can learn something here today. If you are considering a new exchange, I'd recommend Bitunix. We partnered with them just recently. Phenomenal exchange, no KYC, no VPN required, $5,500 deposit rewards, and little loot boxes and stuff. It's actually kind of a lot of fun, but they use trailing stop losses and a lot of cool features, and I just think that it's a phenomenal exchange. So be sure to check them out in your own time. Let's talk a little bit about liquidation here first. It's important to recognize a few key factors here. So first things first, we're starting to see a lot more liquidation levels coming up here at about the $61, $62 mark. Okay. So as those start to form, we start to see more potential interest in the price coming down. You could say the inverse as well here. However, we're starting to see a lot more of these liquidation levels at about $57 getting liquidated. Okay, and what that basically just means is now that those are starting to get flushed out, there's more potential for the price action up above to get wiped out too. Okay, because again, you got to recognize that whales play games, and when there's a large accumulation of volume at certain levels, they push the price to that level, reverse it, switch it around, and then confuse the heck out of everybody else, but they're just controlling the market and sweeping millions of dollars. Okay, so just know that's a possible reality there, but there's a truth that the price could come down a little bit lower to sweep that last little level of liquidity at about $57. So what's the one day look like here? Well, there is more liquidity or value, if you will, on the daily here between 48 and roughly 53. And so I'm definitely rounding up and down a little bit there because it's such a large gap. It's not super relevant, but the bottom line here is there's a lot of value left on the table here at lower price points. So 57 may not be the end. If it continues lower, we could very well see much lower price points there. Again, just telling you the obvious here. There are previous gaps that haven't been filled. It's not a guarantee, but statistical probability it could and should happen. Okay, so again, just some things you see on the back end that normally occur. When we look at the daily though here, let's look at the moving averages and just note we're above all four, perfectly fine there. Definitely overextended on the 4 hour, or sorry, the 4 hour too, but definitely overextended on the RSI. But you can see the money flow index is coming back up. So as that continues to increase, the price sustains itself and it goes higher from there. So you'd be surprised, something like this can definitely sustain itself with increased volume, which we do see on the charts. Okay, so again, volume's looking good. Everything's in good shape. So there's nothing really here that's like stark, oh my gosh, this is terrible. We're going to see an instant reversal. Besides the fair value and the liquidity, I don't see much else that's a problem, at least on the daily for now, okay? So again, that's what we're looking at there. We're at a 7 here on TD sequential too, so basically telling us we've had 7 days of bullish continuation. And typically when you hit a 9 on average, again, it's just statistical probability, the price action will consolidate or retrace, okay? So just know we're coming up for a correction maybe the next couple of days, but keep in mind, if the price can sustain itself here at this level, then we're going to be in a situation where we're going to be much better off because the longer, just like Bitcoin, you saw the ascending wedge pattern, the longer you hold a certain level, the more likely you are to break and continue higher. Okay, so again, as we continue to build more volume at this range, we're going to be in much better shape. Speaking of volume, we have the largest amount of volume accumulation, about $32. That's obviously back from October. November has been a different story altogether. But we have a second most amount of volume at about 42. So again, if the price does pull back, it would make sense for it to kind of bounce off of this level here. The key level support about 45 because that's where the most amount of volume is located. Okay, so just some quick understanding there. We also want to take a quick peek here at the RSI. RSI is coming down, the price is going up. This is typically referred to as a hidden bearish divergence, where the price action is going opposite direction of the RSI. Now, it's not always 100% that it's going to reverse, but statistically, we have more chance that the price is going to continue lower because of this. Also note too, though, the money flow index is still fairly high, and if money continues to flow into this coin, then we should be in good shape. However, if you see here, we're starting to taper off pretty significantly with the volume, and the volume starting to become lower than the moving average there, okay? So that basically tells us that we have a bearish type of divergence. And what do you know? The MACD is trying to swing bearishly here. But just note, last time we swung bearish on the MACD, for example, last time we saw this, the price action was doing this here. It wasn't that terrible. Okay, so we had a correction, but it wasn't like a massive, massive correction. Okay, you can see that correctly. That's what we're looking at there. So just some friendly advice here. The price is due for a correction, but I don't think we're going to see a super amazing significant drop. It might be just enough to fill this fair value gap on the daily, as low as about $49. If the price does pull back, here are the key levels here you want to pay attention to. I'll post this on my Twitter, Telegram, and Discord, where I actually provide charts like these just so you can kind of see them. So if you want to follow that, be sure to check that out. But the truth is 0.382, 0.5, and 0.618 are the very most common Fibonacci retracement levels. 48 makes the most sense here because that was the most recent high, and we see a lot of volume accumulation at that lower zone. So the price does pull back aggressively. I'd say 48 would be probably a worst case scenario for us. But again, 51 or 54 are the two alternatives to that. Taking a look at the 1 hour chart. Last but not least, we do have an upper liquidity level here that was not swept. It was attempted to be swept sometime yesterday evening or middle of the night, last night, midnight, and didn't happen. Okay, so it really just implies that we could very well see that happen. In other words, we're establishing higher lows but lower highs here, basically just working ourselves into a large pattern here. And oftentimes when it derives from the bottom, it continues to squeeze and inevitably breaks out to the top. Okay? Again, if it originates from down here, it comes up here. That's generally the concept there. So this is a more of a bullish sign here as well. Okay, so the hourly is looking pretty decent in that regard. Last thing to summarize with here would be the Ichimoku cloud, and I think we were still above, which we are. But truth is, lagging spans within the price action conversion line is kind of losing its momentum, so it's not really ideal or optimal to buy right now, essentially based on this indicator. Okay. Now again, I use this as a confirmational indicator, so to me, taking a long position right now seems a little risky, just because we could have further downside potential. But we continue to honor these ascending type of, this ascending trend here, and start to see these things, this pattern form, then we're going to be in pretty decent shape to see the price continue higher. Okay. So what's interesting about this is if we establish a higher low and then a lower high after, then there's a stronger chance we're going to see the price break to the upside. So let's pay attention to that. I'll re-review Solana here later today, and we can get perspective on what that looks like. But generally speaking, this is more positive on the hourly. So keep in mind, the 4 hour looks bearish, but the hourly looks kind of bullish. So what do you think is going to happen next? It's an interesting little situation here. The key takeaway, I think, is that we want to follow the volume and make sure to continue to pay attention to that and just ensure that we understand, roughly what could happen next, just by, staying consistent here. So that's what we're going to do. Appreciate you watching. Again, if you want to become a better trader, cryptocash.tech is a site. Make sure you jump on over to Bitunix, phenomenal exchange. Really love working with these guys. We're going to have trading competitions. You have to use my link to register. The referral code is cryptocash, of course, but generally speaking, you just use the link and it'll automatically fill it out for you. But you use that link, you can be eligible for those rewards there. Absolutely recommend that exchange there. Safe, easy to use, phenomenal. They've been around for a long time. So thanks again, Bitunix, for providing a good opportunity to our US and Canadian members. Thanks again for watching. We'll see you all in the next video. Have a good rest of your day.